Jennings recently was on Gil's Arena where he said that he believes Jayson Tatum is a soft superstar, and even went on to passionately say that he might also believe that Jayson Tatum might be one of the softest superstars in Celtics history. I am here to 100% disagree with that statement. I actually think the statement of saying Jayson Tatum is soft is such a tired narrative, and factually, in so many ways, it's just not true, in that it all comes to how you subjectively look at being soft or looking at being hard in sports, which actually might really be rooted in your view of colorism. Brandon Jennings was on Gil's Arena where he really gave all his examples of why he believes Jayson Tatum is seen as soft. He also went on to go say, if Jayson Tatum wasn't soft, why didn't he win Finals MVP? Why did Jaylen Brown win it? He also went on to almost say that 28 points per game doesn't really matter in this argument, because Gil was like, how could he be soft and he's dropping 28 points per game? He on your head every game. That can't be soft. Because in Gil's eyes, soft means, man, I could come out here and push you around, do this. You ain't going to do nothing. You ain't going to hoop back. You ain't going to go shot for shot. You going to stand down to the challenge. And that's just not factually true when you're looking at all the stats. Brandon Jennings said that that really didn't matter to him, and that in his eyes, if he was getting on the court to face the Boston Celtics, he would fear more Jaylen Brown than he would Jayson Tatum.
He's a professional, though.
Yo, is he the softest? That ain't being professional. That's being soft sometimes.
The softest? In crash out time. No, I'm asking. Time to crash out. I really don't know what soft is. I mean, the quietest. Soft. No, soft.
It might be soft.
Soft. No, soft.
Stop talking about my champion like that.
Soft mean like they watching the game the other day when they lost to Cleveland. That was
with the capital or lower case. Soft is when you're getting punked around the court, right? That's soft.
Okay.
You don't get
Soft. You're not saying anything. That's not. What do we know?
Things and examples that Brandon Jennings is using in this argument to strengthen his argument actually show how flawed the argument is. Number one, bringing up that, hey, he's soft because why did he let his running mate win Finals MVP? My argument to that would be, how many Finals MVP does Steph Curry have? He has one. He has 4 championships and has 1 Finals MVP. So that means in that category, we're saying that Steph Curry is soft, and he didn't get that Finals MVP till 2022. Now, that would be ridiculous for us to say, right? Because we all watched the finals when Steph Curry was competing in them, and we all sat there and was like, wow, that is something. But what did they do? They gave Finals MVP to Andre Iguodala for playing defense on LeBron James. The other 2 went to KD, and then Steph Curry gets his in 2022. But by no means are we calling Steph soft. Let's take it a step back further in NBA narrative history, because I think everyone has selective remembrance, because a lot of people used to call Steph Curry soft. And if you're going to sit here on this internet and say you never called him soft at one point, or felt as though he was quiet, reserved, and people could bully him on the court, you're lying. Everyone watched Steph Curry at one point and was like, I don't know if he's going to hold up. The frame, the body, he's not very brash and all these things. You said it, and you know you said it. And Gilbert Arenas brought this up, that at one point everyone called Steph soft, where Brandon Jennings and Swaggy P were like, no one ever called Steph soft, which is just not true, because that was a huge narrative around 2013. You can look this up for yourself, but there are many articles on Steph Curry commenting on that narrative of him being soft around that time. And he even told the San Francisco Chronicle, in alluding to Dirk Nowitzki, when he went through that as a soft European player. And he went on to say, everyone said he was soft, and then he finally won a ring and it went away, which in a lot of ways it did. We stopped calling Steph soft or babyface, and what did we do? We said, oh, he's the babyface assassin. The narratives completely changed after that. But in sports, it's such a contradiction when we sit there and we say, well, you're not a superstar until you win a ring. And that was the narrative for Jayson Tatum. That has been the narrative for the last few years for him. He is this young superstar that has faced a lot of giants. This is the same superstar we saw dunk on LeBron James when he was just a kid. He had no fear. He was out there doing what he does. It is time for him to win a ring to solidify himself in that top 10 category. That was the narrative all year. And for the past 2 to 3 years, he finally wins a ring. And somehow now the narrative is that he's soft. Doesn't make any sense. He then went on to say in Boston Celtics history, all the guys he named, that a lot of Boston Celtics fans see Jayson Tatum as soft, which I strongly disagree with that, because if you really talk to Boston Celtics fans, they love Jayson Tatum. They actually believe that his selflessness in that finals and sometimes deferring for the greater goal was everything to them. Because you know what fans care about? Winning. That's all they care about. He won a championship. That's all they care about, is that that banner is up in the rafters and will forever be in there when they go and cheer on their Boston Celtics. That's all they care about. But somehow now we are moving the goalpost that winning does not matter. You need to be feared. You need to be brash. You need to be talking back to everyone. When they say something to you, you need to respond. Instead of understanding, like, wait a minute, he's averaging 28 points per game, MVP type of season. He just won a ring. They are very primed and prepped to win another one. Man, he's doing it. Now, this really brings up a very uncomfortable conversation of colorism in sports, and especially in the NBA. What is the one thing that Steph Curry and Jayson Tatum have in common, not basketball related? One would be that they're both light-skinned. And if you really think about what Brandon Jennings is saying, he is going from his lens and perspective of what he deems as soft and hard, which is why Gilbert Arenas is like, wait, how can he be soft in the basketball terms when he's dropping 28 on everybody's head? When he's the one that they're starring and circling on the scouting report. He ain't getting pushed around out there and all of that. He's out there doing his job and winning. But to sit there and Brandon Jennings to say, I would fear Jaylen Brown over Jayson Tatum, is not rooted in basketball, but in subjective views of how you view light and dark as being soft or hard. Around 2017, Draymond Green also talked about this narrative of how Steph Curry was seen when he had his Dre Day podcast with Uninterrupted. And he went on to say, people just automatically think that, man, this guy ain't from the hood. He ain't cut like that. He ain't cut from a different cloth. He's supposed to be soft in this and that. And of course, Steph is light-skinned, so they want to make him out to be soft. If people want to admit it or not, that is what they are alluding to when they are saying Jayson Tatum is soft. Now, I did watch Starting Five where Jayson Tatum's dad did talk about the next level he wants Jayson to take, and that being specifically having kind of this nastiness to him on the court, just that attitude to him. And honestly, I think that's more rooted in him wanting him to know in moments in games, you ain't got to defer. Just go out there and take it. But Jayson Tatum also said, everybody wants to make me out to be someone that I am not. I don't want to be that guy. I want to be who I am, and I'm comfortable in doing it how I do it, because what is it doing? It's breeding success. We're sitting here complaining and nitpicking about a guy who is a champion. Make it make sense. And it is very obvious that these narratives, I wouldn't say are getting to Jayson Tatum, but I could assume that it's very annoying to hear when in your eyes, man, I'm just out here playing basketball at a really high level. My team is trying to have a chance to go back to back, and this is the conversation. So Jayson Tatum posted, and he put in the caption, softest superstar in Celtics history. Brandon Jennings was then seen under the post saying, this is the energy I want, and then said he'll be in Boston in May and June and all of that. Which is very interesting to me that was the response that Brandon Jennings gave under the post, because he then went on his story to post all these Celtics greats and all of this and the tiers of where Jayson Tatum lines up to strengthen his argument. But to sit there and be like, yeah, this is what I want you to respond, is odd to me. Because then it brings in a conversation of, are you saying these things to provoke Jayson Tatum? Are you saying these things to poke this invisible bear? Swaggy P said it in the clip where, hey, people say things about Jayson Tatum and he doesn't say anything back. And it's like, well, why does he have to? And in this case, why does he have to say something back to you? Now, it's very interesting because, again, what we're speaking on is not basketball stats. We're speaking on preference of what you would want a person to do, which is already skewed in the entire sense. But sit there and say, he doesn't say anything back and, oh, I got what I want. He finally said anything. Why does Jayson Tatum have to say anything? Why? Because in a sense, basketball-wise, statistically, you all and him are not on the same level, if we're being honest. If we're going through stats, if we're going through all-stars, if we're going through championships now, different conversation where I can understand Jayson Tatum looking like, why do I have to respond when y'all really could just enjoy the show and root for me to win another championship? I guess winning championships and being a top 10 player in the NBA is deemed soft now. I thought we were talking about sports. I thought we were talking about basketball. I thought winning mattered. I thought stats mattered. I guess it doesn't, because if you win and you are top 4 in scoring in the league, you're soft.